Thank you. Still flat, though, right? Okay.
Okay, all right.
Things bend out. Well, things bend out of the way.
And slash complaint. Okay, let's see. She starts streaming again. Come on.
So then the normal. They might want to cross that off to here, the sheriff's office, depending on what they want.
I think this is strategically out of the picture, I hope.
And then explain it.
But it has a little cap on the end, and I don't know where to put the cap because the other cap. Do you know what I mean? It's like in theory it's good, but in practice, because here's the one end, so I just shove the other bit in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they're particularly sensitive to. You need a cap, although if you put it in your pocket, you'll get lid in it.
Well,
and that's-
and it's my house key, so it gets jammed in my pocket.
There you go. And then those kind of, the biggest problem I've had with those micro USB ports is either the port itself or
Confuse you more. So all you do is ask if anybody
the plug gets deformed a little bit. And then that's a little thin, snuggly anymore. And it's because if I've got it plugged in while I'm using it, like my tablet, I've gone through several charges just because it's falling around and or even just stretching it, just putting that little bit of pressure on that long. That's enough.
You'll be appointing observers. They shall not be serving outside of the officers under consideration.
Hey, Devin.
And I found your video.
Is everybody here? Hello. Good evening, folks. If you would like to find a chair and get more comfortable, or you stand, that's up to you. This is our quarterly meeting, and it is also an election evening for the board of directors. We vote on 5 people this evening to fill our board since the terms, and all of our board members who have been on the board this past year has indicated they'd like to continue in that position. If there are any people here who would like to nominate, they would be write-ins that you can write on the spaces at the bottom of your ballot. And if you don't have a ballot, you can see Jackie, or wave your hand, please, Jackie. She'll provide, to qualify as a voter, you must be a resident of the unincorporated King County area on the West Hill. So if you do not have a ballot now, feel free to get up there and get one. And again, you'll elect 5 people or re-elect either way. So, and we'll call for, when we go into the elections, we'll call for any nominations from the floor. You can self-nominate. Okay, moving right along. Major Howard, would you like to lead us in a pledge to allegiance?
Sure.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming out. If you noticed, we had a WHAM cleanup on the Renton Avenue in the Business District Saturday. And besides getting wet, we got quite a few bags of weeds and stuff. And the next one is scheduled for September. There will be this coming Saturday a cleanup in the park area. They're going to be by the gazebo, the last I heard, and that's from 9 to 1. So if any of you would like to go down and meet your neighbors and pull some weeds, they would appreciate your help. Mark is the chairman of our events committee, and he's going to come up and let you know what's going on in your future.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Velez. I'm the chair of the events committee and secretary of WHCA. Thank you all for coming. Events. Thanks everybody who came to the WHAM party on Saturday. We had a bunch of new people, and it was really great. Everybody stayed even though it rained pretty hard. We picked up 42 gallon contractor bags of litter and weeds over on Renton Avenue. If you flip to the back of your agenda, you'll see some upcoming events. This Saturday, we have a bunch of things. There's a Skyway Park cleanup. There's a celebration of the new Health Point Clinic at the Ray's Cynthia A. Green Family Center. They'll have free blood pressure checks by King County Fire Department 20, and Sparky the Fire Dog will be there. Plus, a community coffee hour, free lunch for youth, and a mini game day going on at Skyway Library. That should be pretty fun. Olajuwon's Hands annual community family reunion will be taking place on April 29th at 6 p.m. at the Skyway Grocery Outlet stage to commemorate the life of Olajuwon Brown and celebrate community with food, music, and fun. Our public WHCA board meetings are held every second Wednesday. The next one's May 9th at the Fire Station Admin Building. Please join us and hear what we're up to each month. On May 26th, we're hosting a community yard sale. We'll be releasing more details on our website. You'll be able to rent a space at the Holy Temple Evangelistic Center parking lot, same lot that Nevzat's on, for $20, and sell items that you have that have been piling up, and essentially hold your own yard sale in a parking spot. We'll be having more details on the website soon. If you sign up for our emails at the front desk. You'll be the first to know when we start accepting reservations. Spaces will be limited. Bonk Santo Domingo has an announcement. Bonks from King County.
You're all invited Wednesday, May 30, 6 to 9 p.m. 6 o'clock, we'll have tables of the different departments who are coming out and a bunch of goodies to give away. At the Albert Talley Senior High School, this is our annual town hall open house. There's your opportunity to talk to all the big shots in King County. Yes. Councilmember Larry Gossett is expected to be there. Our sheriff is expected to be there. And we have more information about our King County Local Services Initiative. So mark the calendar. It's May 30, Albert Talley Senior High School. Thank you. Oh, and I have flyers back here.
Thank you.
And next on the agenda, we're gonna let Devin give her announcements, and Devin is the director of our outdoor theater. Does a bang-up job, and if you and your kids have had an opportunity to enjoy the cinema, it's happening again this year.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate that introduction. I gotta follow up Mark now. That was pretty good. Okay, what exciting things do I have to announce? All right, well, first of all, I'm going to start off with our wonderful vice president has a little bit of a door prize situation going on over there. Margie, show them what they'll win. All right, we've got grocery outlet gift cards and platypus soft bottles. If you haven't seen these are what folks go crazy for when they're camping or hiking. They go flat, they can fit in your pocket. Those we're going to give out 2 and a gift card, 3 of those bundles. So if you've not gotten your raffle ticket, make sure you get that. We'll be drawing for prizes at the end of the night. So bring your lucky charms and everything. Good luck, everyone. As Mark mentioned, our community yard sale is going to be coming up soon. We're going to be putting out information very soon. Please sign up for the email list if you haven't already. If you haven't done it on the paper, you can at any time go to mywesthill.org and sign up with just your first name and an email address, and you hit a button and it's done. It's pretty easy. Who also is on our Facebook page? Is there some folks here that are on My West Hill on Facebook? Well, you guys, we're live streaming tonight too, so not only will you get your information about events like the community yard sale, you can actually watch this whole thing and me speaking, so it's very meta right now, on My West Hill. Trippy. Okay. One really cool announcement that I have, and Lou prefaced it a little bit by talking about Skyway Outdoor Cinema. Who knows about Skyway Outdoor Cinema? Okay, a few people know about it. Awesome. Well, if you don't know about Skyway Outdoor Cinema, if you look behind the 7-Eleven on Renton Avenue South, everybody know where the 7-Eleven is on Renton Avenue South near US Bank, right? If you just look behind the 7-Eleven, you'll see a 20-foot mural painted on the back of that building. There's a giant white screen painted in the middle. That is where we put movies. Every August, 4 times actually, on the first 4 Fridays. Now, how do we pick the movies? We don't. You do. If you go on to Skyway Outdoor Cinema on Facebook, or you go to mywesthill.org and click on Skyway Outdoor Cinema, there is a poll. There are 20 amazing choices, and you get to pick 4. And the top 4 are going to be the ones that we play. So it's a very big responsibility that you have all been saddled with. I know. It's going to weigh on you for weeks. Actually, you have to pick by the 30th, okay? Because we're going to announce the lineup on the 1st. So get on there. Okay, we have some people trying to stuff the ballots here. Yeah. Okay. we gotta be careful. We have an actual election happening tonight. Grab that flyer if you don't want to forget. So those are on the table back there. I also want to shout out that we've got Tamika Moss here, who is with the Office of Law Enforcement Oversight Community Advisory Committees. Yes. Now, Tamika is your resource, your go-to for all topics on oversight in policing, and she's also a splendid person to talk to. So if you have questions, she's going to be up here a little bit later to introduce herself a little more to you all, but I just want to make sure you guys all recognize that she was here. I also want to recognize all the folks that came here and tabled today. These wonderful folks that took time out of their day, just like you did, to come here, show what they're doing in their organizations and what they're doing in the community. We've got Violet over here from Tenants Union. She is still here. She's a fantastic resource. Make sure you know her. And she's the one that had all that candy, too. So, yeah, we appreciate that. Right. And we have, of course, we have Matt Bong and Alan from the Community Service Areas program. You guys will get to hear more from them soon. And all the other folks that came out tonight, we really appreciate that. I hope you guys had time to talk with them a little bit and see what they were doing and get some information from their tables. We will be doing this process again and again for each quarterly meeting. Having this open house hour before, did everybody get something out of that? Do you guys like that setup? Should we continue having that hour?
Yes.
Okay. We'll keep doing it as long as you guys keep wanting us to do it and folks keep showing up. All right, great. I wanted to make a quick announcement about something that our board member Erica put together. There's a little baby business card sized piece of paper on that table, so I'll let you treasure hunt to find it. And what it is, it's exciting because it's a little card that tells you the steps to sign up your rewards card. Who has a Fred Meyer rewards card, or who lost it forever ago but they signed up for it at one point? Right? You never bring it.
Or QFC.
Or QFC?
Yes,
All of
it's
them.
Kroger family.
All of them. All of the
them.
Krogers. Who has a Kroger card? Right? Do you have a phone number? If you go online, you sign up for an account. If you don't have one already, for a couple seconds. All right, that's that little baby thing right there. You select West Hill Community Association as your community rewards recipient. It does nothing to your account. It doesn't take away your gas points. It doesn't take away your coupons. It does nothing to your account except for it adds to the percentage of people that we have affiliated with us, which is how they calculate the cut that we get each quarter. And so, for instance, we have 14 folks that have cards, have gone on this website, taken 5 minutes, selected us, set it, forget it, probably don't even remember that they did it. But let me tell you what, our quarterly check was over $60. It was almost $70. Just because 14 people went online for 5 minutes and clicked a couple things, could you imagine if everybody in this room did that? That would be huge. It affects them in no way, except for that 5 minutes they won't be able to get back, but we will appreciate forever. Thank you if you've already done that, and please go do that if you haven't already. And because I'm on a roll talking about donations, I'm going to call up my partner in crime, Lisa Cooper, fellow WHCA board member and fundraising committee chair, to talk a little bit about, yes, that's what she deserves, right? She's going to talk a little bit about a cool event that's coming up. Has anybody heard of Give Big?
Yes.
Yes, some folks have heard of it. It's the last one ever coming up this May. And Lisa's going to tell you a little bit more.
Hi. I have public speaking phobia, so forgive me if I stumble over my words. So Give Big is done by the Seattle Foundation, and there's one day, it's May 9th, from 9 a.m. to midnight, where they platform for all of the area nonprofits, of which we are one. And we have set a goal of raising $1,500 with this Give Big. The beautiful thing about it is actually you don't have to do it just on that day. Giving starts on Thursday, the 26th of April. And so if you go to their website, which is givebigseattle.org, /WHCA, that's us. And we would love any amount, any donation will help us greatly. We have $500 in matching funds from a local area business.
Evansfield Flannel!
Yes. And so that is, what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to raise $1,500. How much did we raise last year? $600?
About $600!
And that was, which is...
We tried.
Yeah.
It was our first time.
Wonderful.
I mean a lot, though.
And, am I forgetting anything?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please, help.
Yeah. And you guys, thank you so much, Lisa!
Thank you.
Lisa! And you know, if you're on our Facebook page or on our email list, we don't inundate you with calls for donations. We always kind of tuck it in along with all the other jam-packed resources, information we always send out. But it really does mean a lot. So we will be letting you guys know gently when that time comes, a reminder that it's Give Big time, because you're going to be getting it from so many other organizations. And I'll tell you what, Give Big, the other special thing about it, I'm going to stop talking about it in a minute, because I know when people talk about donations, it's like, rah. One more really cool thing about Give Big, guys. We are an organization that loves collaborating with other organizations. And especially there's so many in the room tonight that were in the room and are still in the room that are going to be on the Give Big website, right? You probably are also on their email list, and you probably also see their social media posts. Give Big gives you a shopping cart, right? So you can essentially go and look and browse on different profiles, all these different organizations, whichever ones fit, your heart's delight. If you're an animal lover or, different human services, you can click on those organizations and give $10, $10, $10, $10, $10. Each one of those donations makes a huge impact, and it's an easy way to give. Who represents an organization that's going to be doing Give Big? Okay, what's your organization? Health Point? Raise? Nice. Who else do we have?
Oh,
You got one?
actually, Violet, you should probably take one.
Tenants Union of Washington. Any others? Okay, remember those names when you go and look at your Give Big cart and make it a big community-wide effort. All right, I'm going to stop talking about donations now, I promise. I have to just shamelessly plug the South Seattle Emerald. Who knows what's the South Seattle Emerald? Yes, okay, we're an online nonprofit media outlet serving the South End. If you guys have seen Skyway in the news and it's not terribly negative, it's probably from the Emerald. Full disclosure, I'm also on that board. We are having a free party to celebrate our 4th anniversary at the Royal Room on May 3rd. There's a few flyers left up there. Live performances, jam-packed night full of fun, some very big names. Definitely check that out. Before I get off, I just want to say one last time thank you for donating your time to come here tonight and to connect with your community. And we're going to continue doing our darndest to connect you to community. You guys rock. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Devin. Okay, I'm going to just to make a quick announcement that Mitzi Joe Hecknick was scheduled to be here, but unfortunately something has happened that she was not able to make that appointment. So Major Howard has gracefully said he would take her time and have kind of an open question time where you can ask what is the sheriff's department doing in our area and what is their plans for the future. Anything else he would like to tell us at this time? You want to hold off until we have the...
Up to you. This is your meeting.
Okay. Okay, we're going to change here a little. My mistake, I jumped the gun again. We are going to have our election at this time. If there's anyone who is an eligible voter, lives in the unincorporated Kingstown area in the West Hill, the gals have ballots over there, if you can get that. And if you're without a writing instrument, there's some extra pencils over there for people that, please, we ask that you bring those pencils back because we have use for those in other areas. Just a reminder that there can be nominations for the floor. We have 5 incumbent directors whose 2-year term is up, and they all have indicated that they want to continue in their positions. So, if I can call up the election committee chairman, and we'll open the floor for if there is any nominations at this time while they're passing out the ballots. Yes, sir.
Oh, I was actually just going to stand myself for the board to nominate myself.
Your name, sir?
My name's Clifford Cawthon, or Cliff for short.
Okay, Cliff?
How do you spell the last name?
Cawthon is spelled C as in cat, A-W-T-H-O-N. Should I say something, or?
You haven't
Yes,
been through our
you're ready.
process, oh, pardon me.
Well,
But we're gonna give each of the candidates a minute to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about yourself, how you feel you can help this organization.
should I come up?
Okay. We'll let the election board go through that process.
So we'll start with, all right, so on your ballot, we'll start with Devin. Where are you, Devin?
I'm right here.
Come on up again,
Oh,
or
hi.
just shout from over there. I know you got a big voice like I do.
I know, I'm not going to take up too much time. Well, it's me again. So my name's Devin Chikris. I've been a board member for the last 4 years, and treasurer, which has been super fun. But really my true calling is putting together fun events, putting together outdoor cinema, helping with the LAN parties, the Halloween bowling party. Who did that? Anybody show up at that? Yes, yeah, okay. That was a lot of fun. Just fun stuff in the community because we need it, right? It's been a lot of work. Probably put 4 hours a day as a volunteer into this. It seems like sometimes. Lots of late nights, but I love it because there's such a payoff. This is so worth it. We are so worth it. And if you guys agree, I would like to continue to be doing this and serving you guys and making these things happen for y'all, for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Devin. Next on the list is Joyce Clark. Joyce, do you want to come up and use the microphone? Or can you talk? Are you allowed like we are?
Pretty good voice for yourself, sitting here to see. My name is Joyce Clark, and I've been on the council for a few years. Shortly after Norm Rice started this group by giving us, we were in an unincorporated area, and in the unincorporated area, then we were able to have a council and this the association goes a little bit abroad, farther than we had before. But some exciting things have happened in the time I've been here. I've enjoyed it, and I really have a good time. And really what I'd like to do, because I like serving the community. And I live in Bryn Mawr. I'm a precinct committee officer there. And I belong in anything that's going to draw me out to help the community. I would like to. I have no problem with that. And this is our community. We've got to keep our community for us. We've been pushed out of Seattle, so now we want to stop. You can't push us out of here. And I just would like your vote. I would appreciate giving me another year or two to try to keep things ahead. And one thing I did once upon a time, and I'd like to do it again, and I've been working with some people to get it done. There was a time when we had a Mr. and Mrs. Skyway. Mr. and Miss Skyway. And it was not a beauty contest. It was, what do you do for your community? What is your GPA in school? What kind of activities, or what's your long-range plan? That type of thing. And so there's a group of us who are working on that, not on behalf of the Westfield Association, but as our community, mostly in Bryn Mawr where I live. And so we can get that going. And I didn't think about it when I was coming in. I left the pictures of our last one. We saw it at Dennis School. And the winners came out, and the votes were had for the king and the queen. And we've never gotten a crown back, because right now, the queen is a airplane server in Paris. So, I'd like to do it again, so I today if I'm interested in helping you find a party, and let's do that. Because it gives our young people a chance, and then they will compete in the Seafair parade against the other teams, and all the other teams. And so I'll do that now, when everybody else is asleep.
Joyce, I'm sorry, but your minute is up. Joyce, you can bring this up to our events committee at one of our monthly meetings.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. Lisa Cooper.
Hello again. I'm Lisa Cooper. I am a West Hill resident for
for almost 5 years. I have been on the board, when I moved up here, the outdoor cinema, I started volunteering for that and just was completely enamored of the community that shows up for the cinema, that puts on the cinema. It's like nothing I've ever experienced in my life. And I am in awe of the job that Devin does and all the volunteers, what we pull off with that. It's the best community in all of Seattle. And I think, I really, it's wonderful. And so I really feel strongly that anybody that hasn't gone and experienced it, you really should go at least one time this year coming up, because it will just warm your heart. I am on the fundraising committee with Devin, chair of the fundraising committee, and I think that we've done some wonderful things in a short amount of time. Devin's completely modest. She writes the grants, and we just got a grant approved for voter education up here on the hill, which will be nonpartisan. It's just to get the information out there to everybody, which I think is a service that's greatly needed. But it's a wonderful group of people. We're doing some wonderful, wonderful things, and I would like to continue with this group if I would vote for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Next up, Jeremy Williams.
Hello everyone, my name is Jeremy Williams. I'm also a resident of West Hill, specifically the Lakeridge neighborhood. My wife and I have lived there for the better part of 3 years, and I have been part of the West Hill Community Association for the better part of a year as a board member filling in, but I would like to continue in a full term. I work with these fine folks, particularly on the advocacy and fundraising committees. And one thing that I'm trying to get started up is a neighborhood ambassadors program. We want to have that as part of the subcommittee for the advocacy committee, just really to get more connection with you all. Really make sure that we have our ear to the ground on the things that are going on in all of the little pockets in our neighborhoods, the good things as well as the challenges. And so if you are interested in that and want to be a representative for your neighborhood, please talk to me after the meeting and we'll get you signed up on an email list. But really, I want to just help continue to make and foster those connections, because, West Hill Community Association doesn't exist without the community. So I really appreciate your vote, and thank you.
And Mark Velez.
Hi everybody, I'm Mark Velez. I've been a resident of Skyway since 2005. I've been on the board for 2 years now, and I'm currently secretary and chair of the events committee. I was drawn to the events committee because of, as Lisa put it, the cinema, which is fantastic. I watched it grow from just a tiny little thing to what it is today. And it's just a pleasure to be a part of, and this board is doing really wonderful things for the area, and I want to be a part of that, and thank you very much.
You nominated yourself, so you could write them in there.
It's going to be difficult to follow all that up, but I'll try. So my name is Cliff Cawthon. I am a resident here in West Hill neighborhood. I actually live right down the street with my amazing partner, Monica. And I am a teacher by day, and when I'm not on the clock at Bellevue College as an adjunct professor, I'm the chair of the Tenants Union Board of Directors, as well as serve as a member of the Seattle Renters Commission. And ever since I was young, there's one thing that was reinforced, that was always reinforced growing up, that whenever you had the opportunity to do something for someone, whenever you had the opportunity to make your community a better place, whenever you had the opportunity to serve, it was your obligation to do so. that when came to economic development, when it comes to empowering people, making sure people have the tools to make really good decisions in their life, or when it comes to bringing a bunch of neighbors together, like all of your lovely faces I'm looking at right now, then it is your obligation to do so. So moving to Seattle about 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, one of the places that stuck out for me, one of the places I felt most comfortable, and props to Skyway Outdoor Cinema, because that was definitely one of the things that drew me to Skyway, was Skyway. It was the neighborhood that I wanted to live in, and I'm honored to be here. And more importantly, when I look out when I go outside and I look along the Renton Avenue Strip, or when I drive down MLK, that's the best part of my commute every day, because I can see all the houses, I can see all the storefronts we can transform, and more importantly, I can see the potential for community-driven development. And if you elect me to this board, then what I would like to do is I would like to do what I have done for other boards in the past, what I've done with other organizations. Be the tip of the spear when it comes to outreach, to make sure that all of our neighbors, that they get a small little flyer telling them when this meeting is, how they can get engaged, more importantly, telling them how we can, what we can do for them and what they can do for us, as well as work with both county and even city of Seattle, even city of Renton, to spur economic development in the area. Because as I was talking to a couple of neighbors, I was talking to them back there earlier on, and one of the things that we can do is we can reach out to entrepreneurs, people in the community that just don't have the startup capital, connect them with those resources, and we can revitalize the strip outside. And more importantly, you were talking about youth, Jules. One of the things that very last thing is long story short, my last name is Cawthon, C as in cat, AWTHON, and feel free to call me Cliff. And I hope I have your vote. Thank you.
Do we have anybody else who would like to nominate or themselves or anybody else in the room? Okay, so be it. So we have 6 people on the ballot. The top 5 voters vote receivers will be our next 2-year board members. Please be careful with your ballot. If you have more than 5 entries on it, we will have to disqualify that ballot. So 5 only, please.
No hanging chads.
If any of you have a mistake on your ballot, you want to change it, you can take the ballot to the people at the desk of the election committee, and they will replace with a blank one and destroy the one that you don't want counted.
Did both have to leave? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, all right.
Jacqueline will be collecting ballots.
And
Everybody hand them to
Then we
Jacqueline.
need 2 or 3 to supervise.
Terry Miller, where'd you go?
Any more?
Sean, can we have you verify the board's count as just an observer? Did I hear no?
Aye, nay.
Anybody else from the audience who is not a member of the board or a prospective member of the board like to help us out by verifying the count as it's being taken? We'd like to get the ballots counted so that we can give you the results tonight.
To count the ballots? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Verify. Yeah, that's you.
If the counters and the election board, if you take the end tables there and start counting so that we can announce before everybody leaves and who's sitting on the board, starting their official is May 9th, I believe. The second Wednesday. At 7 o'clock at the fire department's administrative room. And we'll count we'll anxiously wait the results. Yeah. Major Howard, this is for real this time.
So, how many of you were not at the last quarterly meeting? Okay, so I'm going to repeat myself for the people that were here at the last one. My name is Brian Howard. I'm a major with the Sheriff's Office. I have 27 years of service with the Sheriff's Office. I'm born and raised in Washington. In fact, I lived in Skyway for several years. Used to pedal my bicycle to Skyway Bowl and play video games. So I have a connection to this community. I really care about this community, and this is one of the areas that's within my supervision. So I supervise Precinct 4, which covers West Hill, North Highline, White Center, South Park, and Vashon Island. So that's the area of supervision that I have. My number 2, my assistant, is Captain Rick Bridges. He was at the last meeting and may also attend some of these meetings in the future. And we'll always try to make sure at least one, if not both of us, are here. I was telling your storefront officer, Deputy Mitchell, just a little bit ago, how fortunate you guys are to have such an active community. I have served in cities and areas 2, 3, 4, 5 times larger than Skyway, who were only able to turn out 12 to 15 residents. So you should really be proud of yourselves and the participation here. You actually have more people that want to volunteer than you have positions, and that is a rare thing. Let me tell you. Harold, you go to a lot of these community meetings. Am I telling the truth? Yes, you are. Yeah. So this is really special, and congratulations and hats off to you for that. So Sheriff Joe Hanknick was going to be here tonight. She had something personal come up, asked me at the last minute if I would step in for her. I was already planning on being here, so that worked out perfectly. So I want to share some of the initiatives that we're undertaking right now. Remember, she just took office January 1st, so she's only been office a few months, but some of the highest priority issues that she has, we're already starting to tackle. So here are some of those. One is recruiting. The sheriff wants to stop hiring out-of-state lateral police officers, or at least slow down on it. We won't refuse to hire them, but we want to have a focus on hiring people who live in this community, who know this community, and who look like members of the community. That means a more diverse workforce, right? We all know that people would rather see people who look like them policing their streets. And she's committed to doing that. And she's formed a community outreach team. She's hired a chief of staff that she's put in charge of that. And we're gonna begin outreach to our communities, especially our communities of color and diversity, to have them work with us and advise us so that we can hire a more reflective police force. Okay, a bunch of white guys like me is not what we need. Okay, we have that. We need to be more diverse. So we're really working hard on that. Next is she is committed to providing implicit bias training for all of our officers. She put all of her command staff, including me, through an implicit bias course last month to evaluate it, to see if we wanted to put all of our officers through it. We were unanimous afterwards. It was a great course. It was better than any we've taken before. I've taken several. We thought it was very, very worthwhile. So we're going to bring that gentleman back from the East Coast to provide training to all of our officers. That's 700 plus officers over the course of a couple of days. So we think that's going to make us a more effective and responsive and transparent police force. Looking at my list here, I don't want to forget anything. For the first time in the history of the Sheriff's Office, our sheriff is providing more less lethal tools to our officers that allow us the opportunity to engage people from a farther distance. Okay, we have been in use of force incidents solely because we had to get so close to the person and our tactics didn't work. We had to resort to a higher level of force. So we are in the process of equipping a number of our officers with beanbag shotguns. They shoot beanbags. They're designed to not hurt, or at least seriously injure people. I think it will hurt. But not seriously injure persons when we can resolve the situation with distance. So instead of closing in at pepper spray or baton or taser distance, which is less than 15 or so feet, the less lethal shotgun will allow us to engage people at 25 to 50 feet away very effectively. And so we're hoping for people who are trying to engage us in a physical confrontation that we'll be able to de-escalate these with that tool more often. So those are rolling out. We've already put every commissioned officer through a training course, and the policy's been written, and we're just issuing the shotguns and equipment right now. So if you see an officer carrying, is it orange? Orange. An orange shotgun, that's what that is. It's a less lethal shotgun. So they're all painted orange so we can tell that those are the less lethal shotguns. And our officers who carry those will only carry the orange shotgun. They won't carry the deadly shotgun. So it's one or the other. And they will be here in this community, and we're really glad to get that needed tool. Speaking of de-escalation, the sheriff has changed our policy. We are now required, we probably did it most of the time before, but we're required to use de-escalation techniques and document them in our incident reports. So we're putting our officers through training to have them understand what that means, how they can, they've already been through de-escalation training. We have a 40-hour crisis intervention training course we put our officers through. And now we want them to understand how to document that. Whenever we have an incident where force was used, we have to see that the officers considered and tried to use de-escalation techniques. If they forget, then we will retrain them, because we want our officers to think about things such as time, distance, and shielding. That's one of the tenets of de-escalation. Don't get so close, don't rush in quickly. Consider putting objects between you and the person so it doesn't have to escalate into a physical confrontation. So we're going to be looking for those kinds of things written in the report. We expect our officers to go as slow as they can. Now we all know that there's times where we're not afforded that opportunity. If residents are in imminent danger and we have to rush in, we will still rush in. If we have time on our side, we'll take that time. We already have been doing that, but now we have to document those efforts in our reports. Naloxone. Everybody know what naloxone is?
Yes.
Naloxone is the drug that reverses the effects of opiates. Opiates are painkillers like heroin and what else? Vicodin, codeine, all those painkillers. Naloxone instantly reverses the effects of those painkillers. So for people who have taken too much and it causes their respiratory drive to fail and they stop breathing adequately and start to turn blue, naloxone instantly brings them back so they can breathe on their own. We started a pilot project a couple of years ago where we issued naloxone to 50 of our officers throughout the county. The pilot project is done, and the sheriff has asked that every officer be issued naloxone, and we're undergoing that training right now. The policy is written, the supplies have been ordered, and every officer will be carrying, every patrol officer, a naloxone kit. Yes?
I have a friend who's been active with the needle exchange types of things, and she has made an offer to a group of her friends to participate in carrying that and training, but as a civilian. Is that something that the Sheriff's Department supports or thinks is a terrible idea? Or I don't think that I know anybody, and she said, yeah, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. So Erica's question was, she knows of a group of residents that would like to also carry and use that, and would the sheriff support it? And I'm guessing here, because I haven't asked you that question. I think her answer would be absolutely. And I'll tell you that King County Public Health is issuing naloxone kits to family members and loved ones of users so that they can rescue them before the fire department or other EMS folks arrive. So that's already been going on a certain level, and so I think that they need to contact public health if they're interested in being part of that program.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
What we tell our officers is, so most of the time that we're using naloxone, it's because people are addicted and making poor choices, right? But just like if somebody put a gun to their head and a neighbor saw that, we race to the scene, we establish a perimeter, we try to talk the person into putting the weapon down so that we can connect them with services and get them help, right? This is exactly how naloxone works. We race to the scene, we administer it so that we can connect them with services and try to get them help for their addiction. Now, it is not always about that. There are times when people overdose inadvertently. Maybe they read their prescription drug bottle wrong. Maybe a child gets into prescription drugs. There's a lot of other instances when we need this, when it's not somebody engaging in poor behavior. But it doesn't matter to us. We go to the call and we offer our assistance so that we can help them, right? So we really are thankful that we have the resources to be able to implement this in this community and the others that we serve. Finally, one of the things we've been looking at, as you know, there are a number of marijuana retail establishments. They're legal. They sell marijuana, and the state collects a lot of tax on those sales, right? A portion of the tax they collect is earmarked towards public safety. We are working with the budget office to try to figure out how much money is available. It is my goal as your precinct commander to add a full-time dedicated DUI enforcement officer to the unincorporated areas of the precinct. So that would be West Hill and North Highline White Center. Because if you all have those establishments in the neighborhood and that is causing more DUI incidents, which is possible, we think there should be more detection and enforcement along those lines. So we're working on that. I can't promise you it's going to happen, but we're crunching the numbers and we're going to try to see if we can't fund a full-time officer for our 2019 and 20 budget. So I just wanted to share that it's a concept with you at this point. I'm hopeful I'll be able to come back and announce it's done. So those are the initiatives that the sheriff's working on, that her leadership team is working on. At this time, where did, there we go. Another important aspect of what we're trying to do in the first few months of the sheriff's tenure is to improve the working relationship that we have with the Office of Law Enforcement Oversight. So you all voted at one point in time to enact a law that would create OLEO, Office of Law Enforcement Oversight. And I would like you to come and talk for just a second about what that is. And then together, her and I can answer any questions you have about this or any other topic. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no, that's okay.
No, can you go back to fund the tax for the marijuana?
Yes.
What's that exactly for? I didn't kind of get what that.
So the sales tax that's collected for the sale of marijuana, a portion of that is earmarked by the law to come back to public safety. We're looking at that because we would like to, if at all possible, fund a full-time DUI officer with those public safety dollars. So
like having an extra patrol car by the shop?
Yeah, behind the billboard.
It wouldn't be that we park a police car in the parking lot of the shop.
Get all the traffic tickets
No,
that way.
it's okay for people to buy marijuana. That was voted in by you all, right? It passed overwhelmingly. We have no problem with that. Our efforts are focused on preventing people from driving when they're impaired. And so we would like an officer who has the time, training, and expertise to drive around and look for impaired drivers, either by alcohol or any other drug. So that's what we're hoping to fund here. What was that, sir? The worst drug is cell phone. Here we go. I agree with you. Distracted driving is a big deal. As you know, the new law is in effect. You cannot have a phone to your ear, and if you do, our officers will likely pull you over, so please don't do that. All right.
And don't text.
Right. Would you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about Olio?
I do whatever you want me to.
Awesome, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Gotta do better. Good afternoon.
Hi.
I was helping with the count and then I realized, oh crap, I'm supposed to say something. That's what I get for volunteering. So my name is Tamika Moss and I'm on the Community Advisory Committee for the Office of Law Enforcement Oversight. I literally have to think about all of those acronyms. But basically it is the oversight body for the King County Sheriff's Department. So anytime there's an investigation that happens, what the Olio office does is they basically provide oversight to those investigations, ensuring that the correct policies are followed, ensuring that the investigation is complete and they've done their due diligence. As a community advisory body, we advise Olio as well as the Sheriff's Department. So I really just wanted to come and answer whatever questions you have. We meet on a monthly basis, the last Friday of every month, downtown at the King County, what is it?
King County Building.
Yeah, the King County Building, that's right. We meet somewhere, I don't know. And I'm the chair this year, so I was voted as chair. And so usually what we do is we go out to the community. I live in this neighborhood, I'm part of West Hill. I did not know about these meetings until I think last year. But I try to get around and I'm pretty involved. So what questions do you have for me? I don't want to take up the whole time just blabbing about myself.
What does OLEO stand for?
OLEO stands for the Office of Law Enforcement Oversight.
Okay.
Yes, for King County. So there is an oversight body for the Seattle Police Department, but then there's also an oversight body for the King County Sheriff's Department. That was too easy. Another question. Yes.
So do you volunteer, or is it a paid position?
That's a good question.
And are you experienced with a background with law enforcement?
So that's a very good question. We are not paid. We are volunteers. I have a full-time job that pays me very well during the day. And then in the evenings, I volunteer for various things, including Oleo. So we are a volunteer body. You do not have to have law enforcement experience. One of the reasons I decided to get involved is because my mother is a retired police officer now. I'm actually from Memphis, Tennessee. I've lived in Seattle for 6 years and I've been in my house in this neighborhood for the last 3. And so my goal is to be the bridge between the community and police because I understand both sides of, as a community member, what that's like. When people don't know my mom is a police officer. Of course, no one knows now because I'm in Seattle. No one knows me.
Everyone's on Facebook now.
True. My Facebook. But I also understand the importance of wanting your loved one to come home safely. And so I want to be the bridge builder between community and police. Yes.
Do you have particular emphases or programs that you talk about and maybe implement as a organization?
So as far as Oleo is concerned, what they do is they look at trends. If they see that there's a particular issue that continues to occur as they're reviewing the investigations that have gone through the process with the Sheriff's Department, they make recommendations. And we also make recommendations. So for example, one of the recommendations that we made recently, I think last year, there is an 8-hour mental health training, and then there's a 40-hour mental health training. And so we made the recommendation that officers go through the 40-hour training because that was optional. They were only required to go through the 8-hour training. But Oleo also makes recommendations related directly to policy as well. So, but mostly we just try to be out in the community, letting people know who we are. If you have concerns or questions or any issue, then you should, give us a call, and we're happy to, hear you out. Yes.
If folks have like an anonymous grievance that they'd like to bring forward or things like that, is that something people can feel safe confiding in the Oleo?
Yes.
You can call, you can submit any complaints that go through, you can call the office directly. There are flyers and paraphernalia over on the table there. So yes, if you have any complaints or any feedback that you want to provide, you are free to do that. That is what Olio is for. They're here for you. And then as the Community Advisory Committee, we provide a community perspective. So we try to keep our ear to the community, find out how they're feeling, what's going on, and provide feedback. And of course, our own experience as well.
So I have a question for the officer. So you said you're going to have a DWI guy here? So
I'm
how would
hoping
he-
to.
So how would he, if there's no test for impairment for him?
So the
And
gentleman,
it seems like no matter, depending on which day it is, I always get behind this car that's really smelly.
So,
And it's-
the gentleman's question is about impaired drivers when they've been smoking marijuana and how we would investigate or detect or prove that. Our officers can receive very good training on how to detect that. We have one program called a drug recognition expert, and they can run a series of tests to narrow down the type of drug that's likely involved. We can go to a judge and ask for a search warrant to obtain a sample of their blood in order to prove that they have that drug in their system. And so we have a number of convictions based off of that good work that the officers do. And that's the kind of tactic that we would use up here for the detection of impaired drivers. What we're seeing now is a lot of people who have been drinking alcohol, but not very much, but they're using other drugs in conjunction, which makes them appear as if they've been drinking a lot of alcohol. Well, you put them on the PBT, the portable breath test machine, and maybe they only blow a .02 or a .04. Well, now you start to suspect other drugs are involved, so you ask them some questions, you look at their pupils, you take their vital signs, you look for paraphernalia and other things that might suggest they're using drugs, and then you can seek your warrant with evidence that you might have collected. So thanks for that question. So I wanted to point out that we view the relationship with Olio as a very important one. Look, anytime that you empower us with the authority to detain and arrest people, there needs to be checks and balances. And Olio is that check and balance. They are able to say, hey, you need to consider this policy, or you need to investigate this aspect of, whether it be use of force or misconduct allegations and that sort of thing. One of the more recent things that I got back from Olio, they pointed out that the supervisor didn't follow the proper steps in investigating an officer's misconduct, that they shortcutted it. They should have done a couple other steps. And so we were able to circle back with that supervisor and provide training so that wouldn't happen again. So to have an extra set of eyes looking over our investigations is very helpful. And we're glad that they're partnering with us. So thank you for that, Tamika.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
I just kind of a comment. I was really impressed by what you said about rushing in to help. Because, and I've never been a police officer, but the impression I get as a civilian is often it's this good guys versus bad guys mentality. Get the bad guys. And I think it's really important to change that direction. And
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Questions? What can we do for this community? What are we doing well? What can we do better? Officer Mitchell's here. I think you all agree he's a dynamite officer. He's your full-time squirrel officer. But there's always things that we can do better. There's always things that, issues that we can address. I want to hear from you. How can we better serve you?
I
Yes,
don't know
ma'am.
that you can better serve me, but I want to give a big thank you. Actually, I don't see Scott anymore. So I don't know if a lot of people, sorry. There he is. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but if you happen to go out of town for the weekend or whatnot, if you go to the fire department, you can actually fill out a form and request that the sheriffs sort of stop by your house and double check to make sure everything's okay. And I did actually have to go out of town for a few days. Scott comes by. I happen to drive a convertible. One of my cars is convertible. If you've ever owned a convertible, you know you don't lock it, ever. Because if someone wants to get in it, they're just going to cut your roof open. So he went so far when I was out of town to say, hey, your car's unlocked. you want me to lock it for you? And I don't know if a lot of people know that this is something that our sheriffs will do for you. So if you didn't know that, and you do have to go out of town, and you don't have someone staying, or you don't have neighbors, or even if you do and you just want an extra drive-by, go down, fill out the form, they'll stop by, they're awesome.
It's
And
also
so,
online as
there
well.
you go.
It's also online, but you can online it.
Thank you.
Get it down there. And so you guys don't know Scott and Duggan. The major gave me a great applause for being a dynamite officer, but I'm only dynamite because of Scott. He does He's our community service officer. He basically does all the work that deputies don't want to do. So,
You just stole my clothes.
Oh!
That was my weapon. I see the weapon right there. No, Scott, how long have you served the Skyway community?
Probably nine years.
Yeah, cool. So Scott is our anchor in Skyway, and he trains the officers when they come up here to work.
100%.
Yep, absolutely. He's our go-to expert on the community, and we really appreciate his service. So thank you very much, Scott. I saw a hand over here somewhere. Sir, did you have a question?
I would just like to thank the lady for volunteering to a committee.
Thank you.
Yes.
That is fantastic, in keeping the officers in line.
Thank you.
Sir?
I took the opportunity to go on a walk around in White Center with the sheriff and yourself and others. And I'd like to encourage you all to get with this group and or the West Hill Business Association.
Yeah, I would love to schedule a business walk, and I'd also love to schedule a coffee with a cop up here. And so if Jimmy and I can work with somebody here to make that happen, that'd be great. So
We'll
I'd
have
like
a coffee
to do those
shop
on
soon.
a regular basis.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will have a coffee
there we
shop
go.
soon.
Okay, sounds good.
You
Ma'am,
had asked what we want.
yes.
Well, I am new to the area, probably 4 years ago I bought, and I've met you down at Starbucks, but I really appreciate how visible you are. I see the cars, I see, at least weekly, you see me walking my dog, but I see a presence, and it's not necessarily a negative thing. It feels positive. I ran into him at Starbucks and we chatted, and so I just want to thank you for being so visible. Like,
Thank you.
I know where
Thank
the
you.
cars are. I seem to see you regularly.
Well, let me talk about that a little bit. If you meet our officers for the first time because you've called 911 or because you were broken down on the side of the road or some other reason, we failed the community. We need to be out and about. We need to be walking the business community and interacting with people when there's not a problem. So that way, there's already a level of trust and comfort with one another established. So my goal for the officers that work up here is that they're getting out of the car, they're walking around, they're stopping at the schools, they're stopping in the businesses, and they're actively engaging the residents of this community when there's no problem. Because then when there is a problem, people are going to be more willing to cooperate with the investigation, provide information. They're going to be more willing to call us when they see something that's out of place. That's what makes for a more effective community. So thanks for pointing that out. Other questions? Or otherwise, I'll wrap it up. Yes?
I just had a quick question. If you do call the King County Sheriff, what's the process with the dispatcher?
Okay. So most of the time when you call from this area, it's on a cell phone, right? So depending on where you're at, it hits different towers. And the towers try to decide where you're at. Are you on I-5? Or are you in a residential neighborhood? If it detects that you're in this community, the first ring will be the sheriff's office. If sometimes it'll detect, oh, he's on the freeway, it'll ring at State Patrol. They figure out where you're at, and then they transfer the call. So you may get transferred once. It happens. When you call the sheriff's office, 911 center, and you want to talk to an officer about anything, we will send an officer. We triage the calls. The more important calls get answered first. This makes sense, right? Right? In progress calls, we got to go first. Low-level calls, like have a disagreement with my neighbor and I'd like to talk to you about it, it's not in progress, don't get answered first. They'll be answered later on. Typically, we don't have calls holding in Skyway because we have 2 full-time officers up here at a minimum, not including Jimmy, okay? So you usually get a timely response. Sometimes shift change can change that, waiting for the next shift to come on. And we will come and investigate anything that you have, even if you just want to speak to an officer and you ask for an officer to come to your house, we'll do that. Now, please don't abuse that. We want our officers to be out and about and responding to calls and detecting crime. So if you just want to chat it up, when you see a police car at the storefront, our office, stop by there and knock on the door. And
Or email me,
chat it
I
up.
love to talk.
Or email Jimmy. Just be careful, because once you get them started, you won't be. Okay, one last question, and then I'm going to turn it back over to all of you. Nothing? Well, thank you for allowing me to represent the sheriff and talk to you for a minute. I have an open door. I'll leave some business cards over on the police table over here. Call, email, stop by anytime. Thank you very much.
And thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me as well. I'll continue to come to the quarterly meetings, and I'll also just kind of hang out after the meeting, so to shake hands or introduce myself. So I'm friendly, I promise. I'm not from Seattle. I'm a Southerner.
Neither are we.
Neither am I. Lou? Lou will be right with you.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. While we're talking, our Officer Mitchell has graciously said that he would like to start a type of cadet, not really a cadet, but like a, help me with the words.
A crime prevention seminar, specifically to Skyway and Bryn Mawr and Lake Ridge and all the other communities that make up West Hill on problems that we have here in West Hill. And Lou and I were talking about kicking it off in August with the safety fair. We'll probably go 3 weeks. And so it'd be a good time so you can come in and you can ask all the questions you want about the sheriff's office or about me or about patrol. We'd also bring in some of the specialty units, some of the different detective units that we come in and problems that they see and that they're working on in the West Hill area and what they're doing and how they do it. And then along with some crime prevention tips. It would be kind of an interactive seminar. So they're thinking like 3 or 4 weeks for 1 hour or hour, maybe an hour and a half a night. Kick off with the safety seminar and then go for 3 or 4 weeks after that in August, at the end of August.
So we're still trying to figure out what day of the week was going to be the best after the safety fair, but those people who are interested in learning more about your sheriff's department and how they operate, we're thinking of Thursday nights for the class, and that those will be held for the most part at the training center with the fire department, and we may be able to arrange a few short trips so that some of you would have an opportunity to sign up for that class to go through, if you will, some of the vehicles that the sheriff uses, or maybe we can get a demonstration of the K-9 unit in an active place where you could see how that is, and the officers that can inform you about that. I went through a seminar class that was put on by the city of the city of Burien several years ago, and it was very informative. I came away with more respect for the sheriff's office because of it, and they have a tough job, so hopefully we'll see at the safety fair. There is going to be the backpack giveaway also at the safety fair as usual. So if you have children that are going to school, or you have grandchildren or friends, let them know that'll be on the 25th too. So a chance for more education for our communities. And now we make him wait all the time. Harold, come up and tell us.
Don't you guys want to do the election results before?
What a way.
always working with our county chairman to change some ways that we can communicate with the King County Council.
Okay, so, how many of you were here the last time I spoke? Good, because I can't remember at all what I said last time. So I'm going to start over. Actually, Major Howard, actually we have a long history together. I think it was a decade ago when he arrested me. I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. He worked at the airport as in charge of the Air Rescue Firefighter Group a while ago, so we have a long history. But what I loved about his presentation and his team, Jimmy and others, Scott, is they're out here talking about what they can provide and actually drawing from you comments about how they can be better, what's missing in that equation. And that is the heart and soul of what this topic I'm going to talk about for a few minutes. So last time I was here was actually, I think, literally the day before the executive was supposed to announce that he was looking at this local services initiative. And I kind of cheated and said, well, I kind of think this is what he's going to say, but you know, a lot has happened in those 3 months. So the Local Services Initiative is solely intended to be more responsive, provide better services to the residents who are part of the unincorporated King County. Now, King County has 30-something cities in it, and those pockets that are not part of the city or unincorporated King County, you folks can relate to that here on the urban side. And we have big portions of that over in the rural side on the east part of King County. The county, I think it's fair to say, has over the many decades felt more comfortable in its regional role, and the executive felt now was the time to beef up the presence as a local service provider. So those of us who live in cities perhaps can recognize that when you have an issue or whatever, you go to the city. Those who are part of unincorporated King County, maybe it's a little bit more confusing. So he wanted to move forward and make that less confusing for the variety of services provided. So he asked he asked back then Deputy County Executive Fred Jarrett to move forward and kind of come up with an idea how he can improve this. So Fred worked with a small team and just came up with some concepts that included establishing a Department of Local Services. And for those agencies that provide those services in unincorporated King County, not pull them all together under one big mega department, but have special arrangements, special partnership agreements between that, and move forward with one voice. So I've been asked to move forward and make that happen in 2018. Just this morning, the King County Council adopted a motion that provided guidance. That's basically they're saying, okay, we heard what the executive is trying to do. We like it. Keep going. So that's an added bonus and provides a little bit more clarity in the effort. So inside baseball, what does that mean? So we are taking the Department of Local Services to include, we're now moving forward in setting up all the paperwork behind the scenes to have the Road Services Division be a part of it, and the permitting agency, the Department of Permitting and Environmental Review, to be part of it. There are several other agencies that provide services in unincorporated King County, like parks, water and land resources, the sheriff's office and all that. But those agencies that are part of the executive branch, we're going to start with that team and move forward and try and make this thing work. And then we'll continue to work with other agencies outside of that inner circle and see if this thing can keep working and have momentum. What that means is, in theory, rather than be confused about who to ask for help on a variety of issues, that in theory, when you have a concern or things aren't getting resolved, that at least you are more clear about where to go, one place maybe to ask the question, or having that opportunity to make it more clear, for us to make it more clear where to go and resolve those issues. If the issue that you have, typically, an organizational development, if the issue that you have is within one department, you ask them for help, and ideally, they just within their own resources can help you out. It gets a little bit more challenging when it's 2 departments or 3 departments are involved. Everybody looks at each other, and I know the residents start to get frustrated. It's even more challenging when multiple departments are together, and the particular issue is something that individual departments might have a little bit of conflict in terms of how they would best proceed to move forward. So the intent, and we're all human, right? Everybody's trying to do the best they can. The intent of this is to work out some agreements and really formalize how we can work together, particularly in those areas that historically we've not worked together very well. Lots of high expectations to move forward on this. I'm trying to kind of tamp that down and just, we're just trying to start, we're going to try and start this off and see if, we can get it working. So just this afternoon met with other department directors to start talking through, and they're very motivated and they're very clear in their minds of some ideas on how to do this. So give us a few months. We'll certainly come back and keep reporting out. The goal is to have these agreements and have a much clearer picture of how the heck we are going to work together in a manner that better serves the residents in unincorporated King County, how this will work. We have pledged to have those agreements as part of the 2019-2020 budget and move forward. And as I mentioned, then other agencies that are not immediately under the charge of the executive, like the sheriff's office and the district courts or whatever, that do provide services, as well as some of the fire services and everything, maybe we can continue to move and embrace the coordination and collaboration so that we're all better off working tightly together, just like a city would work together. Something like that's the spirit of what we're trying to get. It's a question.
It's time for questions? Okay, awesome. So just trying to understand kind of in practice what the possibilities could be. I think it's the Department of Neighborhoods for Seattle, I believe, has like a web page where they have all these like really cool illustrative icons, and it's one page catch-all for everything you're looking for, from community events to reporting a pothole to whatever. Would there be some sort of component, maybe that is software or app based, that maybe it's a web form that you can select, your problem, or is there some database where you would be, reporting or contacting or commenting that would aggregate all of that so that you could be put in the right place? Or is this specifically you still finding a single department, but they would at least hook you up to whoever you need to speak with? I mean, is there some kind of maybe software solution that would go with this as well for the folks that don't have a Find It, Fix It app or a...
Yes, next question, please. Just kidding. No, what Devin is pointing out is technology and how technology can help, and we are actually looking very seriously at those opportunities. For example, there are ways of better conveying what services you have. Well, let me reverse and say it this way. I've been a long-time county employee, and I know how the county operates, and I know who goes where or what goes where, and then that tends to be reflected in the website, right? But for those of us who aren't part of the county, or those of you who aren't part of the county, you have no clue. You don't know what agency, you don't even know what the title of the agency means as it relates to the services provided. I'm exaggerating slightly. So we're trying to figure out ways of changing that. The other thing that you're saying, a deeper thing that you're questioning, is like how to use technology to be a little bit more thoughtful and intelligent about the question that's being asked, what other resources like private businesses are doing that. We're actually looking at possibilities of embracing software to do stuff like that, where the experience of the individual based on the last 15 inquiries can be enhanced by maybe the response that's given back. That's stuff that's outside of my league, but there are some efforts underway to look at the possibilities there. Yes?
So you mentioned before this new local affairs department that the county is developing. What kind of investments are going to be made in outreach or making those services or that one-stop shop that Devin is referring to, or rather just letting people know that now that they have some form of direct access to service provision, or rather that kind of one-stop shop approach to providing services if they live in unincorporated areas. Like, are you going to maybe set a storefront in Skyway where people can have access to some of those more specialized services, as much as like to knock on the sheriff's door, or to go to the library to pick up pamphlets? Or is there going to be some kind of annex that the county will have where I can go to maybe talk to someone who works at public health, or talk to someone works at a Department of Transportation, ask about some of those services, things like that.
Let me answer that in a couple ways.
Yeah.
we're very open to figuring out ways to have that one-stop shop experience, if that makes sense. In some cases, agencies do very, very well with that direct level of contact. We don't kind of mess up a good thing. But in those areas where it is confusing, we're going to look at ways to do that. Now, how we do that is to have conversations with the community like this and have conversations with the staff so that we can kind of like come up with ideas that kind of embrace where the confusion is. But the other thing that I'm very careful about is the additional resources. Unfortunately, the two agencies that are being put together are challenged resource-wise. So we're not in a position to be able to fund storefronts left and right. The county does have some programs where they rent out a facility and they have folks lining up to provide some level of service. And in the future, we're going to look at ways we can collaborate with that. But that's the dangerous part of me being up here in front of you folks talking about that, is we don't have a lot of additional resources to play with, so we're careful not to overpromise. But we are starting to look at what the possibilities are. We will mount our logic, mount our requests, and then kind of move forward.
So, secondary question, what do we need to do as a community to get those additional resources for you to have those kind of interactive services?
Well, you're doing it right now, because what you're asking for something that will report back. Just being clear and being vocal with us about what the areas are that you think are underfunded or underrepresented or whatever, and we report that back. But there's no magical equation. Most of this will be funded, perhaps, I should say, a lot of it will be funded by the general fund that the county has. And there's not very strong revenue vehicles support county services. You probably hear that all the time. So we're trying to be realistic about what we can do and not overpromise. But I can assure you that we're definitely recognizing what we have, and the community outreach portion of it is what we're embracing. Let me just, yes? Question time.
Will this realignment have any effect on our neighborhood action plan that's still waiting to be approved?
I don't believe it would, but there is in front of the council a revised way of looking at the sub-area community plans that have been worked on throughout the county. So we'll have to wait and see how the council embraces that or moves forward on that, but I don't believe it would. So a couple of things that I wanted to mention before I open it up to even more questions is, we're going to work with our employees to figure out what is working, what is not working, and all that backroom stuff to just make sure that we're doing it as thoughtfully as we can. And I think folks are very much on paying attention to the details. But more importantly is the community outreach that we're having. And so we're trying to, just like Major Howard was doing, stand here and not talk at you and then kind of like listen to one or two questions and pack up and run out. We're trying to really sit there and listen to, in detailed ways, understand what the community is saying is missing. And so I've been out quite a bit talking to communities, not only on the urban side, but on the rural side. And if you listen thoughtfully to what they're saying, it's not simply just, these are the things that aren't being met. There are different perspectives out there. There are different ways of looking at what's important to a community. And because of the nature of it, it's not one thing that fits all places. And so the challenge that we'll have is how to be responsive as a government, providing local services when the communities that we're serving that are part of this can be very, very different, that can have different needs and set up very different. And we're just trying to be thoughtful about all that. So that represents a very significant challenge. Okay, question just back there.
So just, I can't remember the councilman who proposed this.
Lambert probably.
Who wanted to try and get on the same page for unincorporated King County services. And I talked to a gentleman who got back to me about it. And unincorporated King County makes up thousands of people. I mean, he was talking about Redmond.
Oh, yes.
Blah, blah, blah. So we're way behind even getting on the communication storefront. What I heard from him was this is going to be proposed. We haven't even gotten, it's like 9 months down the road just to propose unincorporated King County, how to get on the same page. And that there's so many, I don't even know the number.
There are about 250,000 residents that live in unincorporated King
All
County.
want a piece of the pie and
Right.
through transportation and our roads paved. So does the squeaky wheel
Well, let me try and answer that. I mean, the time frame that's being referenced here is the fact that just this morning they adopted a motion that gave us some direction to move forward. We are going to transmit mid-year to the King County Council the paperwork on reorganization, the legislation, with the intent of having that all adopted and a budget for this new department and this approach as part of the 2019-2020 budget. So yes, technically, the formalization of this won't happen until the end of the year, rolling into January 1st of 2019. But the squeaky wheel, I would rephrase it this way. This is an opportunity to make sure the voice of the residents in unincorporated King County are heard. And that's no small thing. And so the voice can be both in terms of the types of services that are being provided, to making sure that we're paying attention. Everybody is fighting for that small dollar and everything like that, so the squeaky wheel syndrome, that happens universally, and I don't have a great answer for that, but at least now, if I do the job right for setting it up this year and we perpetuate this, that you should feel increasingly comfortable, win, lose, or draw, that the concerns or the issues that you raise are being heard on equal footing. Now, admittedly, 250,000 when the county is much, much larger than that, the more people live in cities, to put it frankly. But this is an attempt to make sure that the role that the county has in providing local services is being tended to in a different way than ever before. So in that sense, I think that's very much a positive. But we'll see. We'll just keep moving ahead and seeing how this plays out. Yes.
Couple things. I before the meeting, I joked with you about whether you, or asked you facetiously, whether you're angling for the mayor's job. And in thinking about it afterwards, I realized it's probably more like a city manager or local service manager job. But will it really, particularly in terms of budgetary implications, will the deputy or the director have the authority to make a budgetary request every year?
So the original in-house thinking was that maybe the leader of this department would actually be something other than a department director, would be a deputy county executive.
Right.
And that had been talked about. But at this point, that does not appear to be the case, that the leader of this department will be a department director. So that puts the pressure on this department director, whomever it may be ultimately, to work closely with his or her peer departments to make this thing actually work. Not to mention the other separately electeds that would ultimately be involved in trying to put together some unified approach to delivering services. So we have to be, and we will be, respectful of the role that the elected officials have, your King County Council members have, in terms of their responsibility for representing his or her constituents. But the ability to move issues and hopefully in a collaborative way redirect resources in response to what the community is saying is what this is all about. How that will happen is what we will be working on in the next several months to figure out how we can put that in writing so that people can, point to it, even if the chairs or even people sitting in the chairs remove that approach or that ability to deliver services that way is perpetuated. That's not an easy task. That is not an easy thing, and that's different. I mean, those of you who are into organizational development, there's the silos go up and down, and then there's that lateral stuff that's a little harder to do. So we're trying to deal with it horizontally.
Well, yeah, from my impression, it could easily be a full-time job for more than one person to actually identify those things that aren't working well together within the county and report those out. And I'm not quite hearing a notion that there's anybody in charge of being able to say, yeah, that's something that should be a priority for the county to fix.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of how you ultimately resolve those issues that we're going to wrestle with. What I'm saying is there's probably not going to be a person that just through his or her positional authority say go left, go right. We'll rely on agencies to work together. But memorializing how we're going to work together and elevating that as the way that we want to do business is something that we're focusing on. And again, that is not a small thing. That is not a small thing. Yes?
So, I mean, to be fair to you and like what you're saying, because I can, you know, just sense that it's obviously not easy going from community to community and not, you know, not over-promising things and just being realistic with people and saying, hey, we only have limited resources. However, one thing that kind of stands out to me is that the nature of, you know, this new, not just the Department of Local Affairs, but this whole new turn to try to start to stitch the concerns of unincorporated areas together, almost as if it was in our city, is that you have the department, but what about a mechanism or an organ within that department to actually have a constant feedback from the community, representation from the community in the department. And I'm not just talking about hiring individuals. I'm talking about something like you know, an advisory council, you know, similar to how through you know, in the whole, I guess, the law enforcement structure, you know, there's you know, there's the advisory council on policing, and then there's Olio in this, you know, this kind of web of accountability. So for your department, for the department that is being developed, have you sketched out or created this mechanism of accountability to the community? And if so, is that something that you'd be open to starting as in both an advisory mechanism as well as so the community, so we're heard directly, our voice by us, from us, or just, and also as a mechanism for accountability?
So, two ways of answering that question. One is, there is sort of, well, not even sort of, there is a mechanism that exists right now. You have Bong here, you have Alan Painter here, and folks that have come to these meetings and a variety of other community-based meetings consistently, and they provide feedback back. So that's been going on for years.
Well, I'm talking about residents, not people who work for the county. No offense, Bong, I love you.
No. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
like just everyday folk.
Well, I think we absolutely are very, very much open to that. We're being very careful not to prescribe out, here's what we're gonna do, you know, and not have the input from the community advisor.
Right.
So your input to say, hey, you know, a citizen or resident-based feedback loop, community group, whatever like that, is there in the plans? I said, yeah, I think we're open to all of that. We're in the listening mode to kind of intake as much as we can and then kind of pop some ideas out. But yeah, that's very valid. Absolutely. Yes.
So is the local services organization going to be responsible, just to follow up on the previous gentleman's question, be responsible for reviewing and implementation of these sub-area plans that the communities have built over and over again, and every year it seems like it just gets postponed and kicked down the road, and we're talking about, like, how are we going to have the community's feedback? Well, these plans are our feedback. It's there in black and white, but there is no implementation, there is no enforcement or anything.
Okay, let me quick answer, and I got to get off the stage here. Oh, time out.
I hate to, but if anyone else is interested, I apologize, Jeremy.
Okay.
I do. Because we still have some community reports we need to go through. So if you want to talk privately, if you can wait, Mr. Kawaguchi, that would be great.
Okay, so I'll just quick answer, and I'll drop the microphone and get off. But
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry.
no, you saved me. You should have done that before he finished his question. But yeah, I think that's a separate issue, but it's related. The reason why it's separate is because right now we're figuring out a way that right now in front of the council is specific legislation to deal with how we deal with community sub-area community plans in the future. However that plays out will definitely be part of the department. So not in a great position to be able to figure that out, but the whole spirit of it has to be how we can move through, how we can start to position ourselves to deliver rather than perpetuate frustration. That's the whole point of this thing. So open to many ways of doing it, having a citizen-based or resident-based committees to do that, be more timely in the follow-up with sub-area plans or whatever that is. That's the feedback we need to hear and keep moving forward. Yeah, very good point. Okay. Email address? Ask local services at kingcounty.gov. If you have generic questions or whatever like that, we have some flyers here for just, you know, what input you'd like to give us. And I'll turn it over and I'll hang out to the end of the movie. Meeting.
It is a movie, though.
That's right.
Okay, we have some community reports and also committee reports. If
No committee reports.
we'll cancel the committee report.
No, I
So,
never always have.
Randy,
Oh, he had to leave, I'm sorry. He excused himself. Randy Matheson from the school district
yeah,
had to excuse himself.
okay. I don't know how many of you get a chance to get downtown Renton, but the new school that they're building is coming along nicely.
It will be open, I can't say this for sure because I talked with one of the assistant superintendents, and it will be open in fall. It's going to be a STEAM school, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Remember that.
Okay, thank you. And for those of you who have worked so hard and wondered when we were gonna get our coffee shop, the permit was turned in last Thursday. The architect is all done, so pat yourselves on the back and hopefully very soon we'll have a coffee shop to go to.
Election.
Were there any other community reports?
Do we have anybody else?
On the list? On the list, Luke?
Where'd I go? Is everything done so that, Cynthia?
I hate to say I was sitting for a long time, I was getting stiff. I want to piggyback on whoever's had the vacation visit and said that, well, I did that as well too. I slipped a little note under the storefront's door and said, here's the dates I'm going to be gone. There'll be a car parked in front of my house. That's my son. He's living there. I came back from my vacation. I was in my house, and all of a sudden I saw this individual lurking around the outside of my house, and I'm looking out the window going on, and he had kind of like a stocking cap on. Went back out to his car, and I'm looking outside, and all of a sudden I realized he has a uniform on. So then I opened the door and said, hey, are you looking for something? And he said, yes. There's a strange vehicle outside. Well, it was mine. I forgot to put my own vehicle on the list. When I came back from vacation, the sheriff noticed it and was out there checking things out to make sure things were as they should be. So, kudos to what the sheriff does. I can't say enough. So, my name is Cynthia Lamoth. I'm the general manager of Skyway Water and Sewer District. And I'll be brief because it is late. You are probably all breathlessly waiting for an update on the Skyway Park lift station consolidation project. I did a little research. I've been with the district since 2013. This project planning began in 2008. Yeah, so we are a decade into this. A public hearing was held in 2012. We did a presentation at the West Hill Community Association in July of 2013, and I hope to be able to report some news sometime next week. We had a meeting today. We're speaking with our attorneys on Friday and hope to have a resolution or an answer of some sort next week. So watch for a roadside reader board. We do have another project in construction right now, our well site treatment upgrade, and that provides water to approximately a third of the community area. We're doing clearing, grading, demolition, horizontal directional drilling, and you can come and see me afterwards if you'd like more details on that. It's about a $2 million project, and we'll have that done by the end of the year. Watch for a postcard in your May bill. It gives you a link to an online report that on water quality in the area. If you have any questions, you can give us a call. If you want a hard copy, you can call, and we'll provide you that as well. But in a cost-saving measure, we've gone electronically. Thank you to anybody who contacted their legislator in support of the Public Works Trust Fund program, because for the first time in 5 years, I think it is now, don't quote me on that, the legislature approved $14 million in pre-construction loan funding. There will be a new cycle opening up Thursday of this week is what I'm told. Pre-construction grants includes design, environmental studies, permits, that type of thing. So we'll be looking to take advantage of that as much as we can. If you are a senior citizen or on Social Security, you may be eligible for a discount rate. There's forms on the back of the table. Take one if you'd like, call if you have questions. And let's see, King County Franchise Ordinance. I'm walking the middle road here. There'll be information in the newsletter that's coming with your bill, an update on that, and stay tuned for more. Thank you very much for your time.
Fire district.
Fire district. For those of you who have not met the fire chief, Eric Hicks is our fire chief. Eric started his firefighting career as a volunteer here in Skyway, a resident of Skyway for many years, and I don't want to embarrass him and tell people how many years it's been.
Thank you, Lou. So, yes, my name is Eric Hicks. I am your fire chief. I do want to say that the police officers, deservedly so, they got a lot of love tonight. Firefighters and police, we compete a lot. So if I get a little more love.
That's right.
So I just got to talk about a few things. One is that we are recruiting for new volunteer firefighters. We're planning on putting on a new recruit class in August. And so we're looking for about 8 to 10 people that are interested in being volunteers. We are recruiting from Renton High School, from the area up here. We want to encourage more people from this area to volunteer to be a firefighter. There's a lot of opportunities for people who are interested in the fire service as far as training, uniforms, there's a stipend that goes along with it, and a lot of our volunteers get hired throughout the state, so it's a really good program. You can just go to our website, king20fire.org. We have a mailing list on there now. We are going to do an orientation in May to try to draw more interested individuals in and start our application process towards the end of May, so we can start doing that sort of thing. Right now, I have a mailing list of 100 plus people waiting to apply for our department. So it's a pretty big deal. I'm gonna have some information on my table as far as recall on smoke alarms. Smoke alarms that were purchased between September 2016 through October 2017. They're the Kitty smoke alarms. There's more information on my table if you'd like to grab one and see if the model number matches the smoke alarm you have in your house. Right now, there's no reported incidents of the smoke alarms failing, but if you have that smoke alarm, you want to be sure to contact the store where you bought it from to get a refund. Last time I was here, I talked about space heaters. Year to date, we've had 3 fires in Skyway. 2 were caused by space heaters, and 1 was an electrical problem. Now that we're going into the spring and summer months, there'll be a lot of you grilling. I tend to grill all year. Things you want to watch out for, similar to when you're cooking at home, is 1, having a 3-foot safety zone for kids and 3 feet of space for any type of combustibles away from the grill. You want to make sure that if you're using a gas grill, that the lid is open before you start hitting the igniter. And if you smell gas, to leave it open, make sure that the burners are off and let it sit for a while so it dissipates. If the smell is extremely small and you don't know where it's coming from, please call 911 so we can come and investigate. I had a question at my table earlier, like what if a fire does happen in your grill? Well, there's a couple of things. 1, how comfortable do you feel with it? Because some of us are comfortable. Sometimes there's flare-ups in the bottom of the grill because you have grease buildup. So you want to make sure that you're cleaning your grill each time you use it. But if the flames are so big and they're starting to come out of the sides of the grill, you really want to call 911. If you feel comfortable using the fire extinguisher, the first thing you want to do is call 911 or have someone calling 911 before you grab that fire extinguisher. Okay? The type of fire extinguisher you need is an ABC fire extinguisher that will deal with a grease fire. Any questions on that? Okay. I want to be sure to let everyone know that we are going to be putting on a CERT program this year. We've had a lot of requests for that program to get started up. That program ended about 5-6 years ago, the last time we had a class. So we're bringing it back. Our new public information officer, Eric Autry, has been taking all the training and he's ready to start up that class. So if you go to our website and go to the volunteer tab, there is a tab for CERT. And you can sign up on the mailing list and we'll start sending you out the date of when that program will start. Okay. Everybody here kind of familiar with CERT, what CERT does, what that program is? Okay, it's a community emergency response team. It will train you and give you some of the skills you need in the event that we have the big earthquake or disaster in this area. The first program or class that we're going to put on is going to be informational. There'll be some hands-on. You'll go away from that class with some equipment. And then maybe the next year after that, we will step up the program where you actually be certified members of the program with the state. So if you're interested, please go to our website and sign up for the mailing list so we can get you started. Yes, ma'am.
So I did this some time ago, back in the day. Is this still like an all-day training, or is it?
It will be multiple days. Yeah, multiple days. And we'll be sure that you get that information. We'll get that information out to you so you can prepare for those days. Yes, ma'am. So right now we currently do not offer a CPR class for the residents. It's something that we've talked about and considered doing. We just haven't gotten around to starting that program up again.
So I have a question. I did not actually know this, so maybe it's just me being stupid, but it turns out that in addition to checking your batteries and your fire alarm, you are supposed to actually replace the entire unit every 10 years. What do I do with the old dead ones? I mean, they're not dead yet. They obviously still work, but you know, I'd rather spend $30 and get a new one than have my house burned down. So what do you do with the ones that, you know?
That is a very good question. I'm gonna give you some of my thoughts on that. One is make sure the battery's out so the battery doesn't go in the landfill. Some detectors may have mercury in it, so you may look at giving them to King County Hazardous Waste. They have free sites throughout the spring and summer where you can take those. I know a lot of them do end up in the landfill, but that's what I would recommend, taking them to King County Hazardous Waste.
Okay, thank you.
What percentage do you think of those volunteer applications are local folks or young folks?
The percentage is very low as far as residents in our area. As far as age, we don't look at age. You just have to be 18 or older.
How about female versus male?
Our last class recruits we had one female, and she actually dropped out before the academy started. So this next group, I won't know the demographics of that group until we do the interview process, go through the interview process. Anyone else? Okay. Well, you all have a nice night. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Luke.
Okay. Hi, thank you everyone. Thank you for all for being patient, being here tonight with us. Let's see. Community reports, good? Everybody good? Okay, Randy's gone. Long talk. Skyway Water, Skyway Solutions, Ryan, and then Library. Sorry, Kathleen. Although I should say ladies first. Okay, thank you. This is Ryan Quicktar from Skyway Solutions. He's got some things he's going to be passing out here for us.
Hi everyone, I just want real quick, flyers are going around right now. We are hosting our second parade in Skyway. That'll be Saturday, August 18th. We'll start the parade, start right here up at the Skyway Library, go north on Redden Avenue and end at the church right across from the bowling alley. There'll be a block party there. We'll have music and other things for the entire community. We have our planning meetings second and fourth Tuesdays at the Skyway Library. They start at 6:30. We had a pretty good turnout the last meeting that we had, and want to keep that going. We will need volunteers to help with the event setup along the parade route. So any questions? If you are interested in helping out, email info@skywaysolutions.org. And then also too, if you are a local business or know of a local business that would be interested in helping sponsor the event, I do have some letters that could go that talk about different donation amounts and increments, what that would mean, and also line items that we do need help purchasing, such as porta potties, bounce house for kids, road signs, all those different things. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, Kathleen for the Skyway Library.
Quick announcement, and that you guys will be the first to hear that officially our book sale this year is going to be September 22nd from 10 to 5 in the library meeting room. And because of that, we would love to have more books. I think we've got about 10 or so right now, but if you want to get rid of some books, you can drop them off at the library. They'll send them out to Preston, and then they'll bring them all back for the sale. That way, the more there are, we don't mind selling the same book several times, every other year. The membership, I wanted to say a quick plug here. Our membership is getting older. And it is nice for retired people to, because we like to, well, we do actually meet in the evenings, which can be a problem for some people. But I know that Teresa and Mary have been doing this for quite a while, are probably thinking about, it'd be nice to have some other help here. We meet first Tuesday of every month, except August and December. We get to talk about programs. We get to try to have influence on what kind of programs will be there. We provide some of the funding. We have an ongoing book sale and then the annual book sale, and that's basically it. It's not a huge amount of time commitment. One thing I did want to bring up at the last meeting, I actually had 2 people sign up, and my sign-up sheet disappeared. We can't find it anywhere. I feel very bad because they actually signed up. So I have no idea what happened, but if anybody knows, I'd like to get it back. So that's it. September 22nd.
Just sign up again.
Yeah. And who can people reach out to if they'd like to join the list? Can they send an email to someone or?
Well, let's see. Actually, to me, I suppose, or you go into the library. And I'm sure they've got a way to sign up or just get some information, and then Teresa could take it and email. And again, come to a meeting.
Would there be a list at the community coffee hour?
That I don't know, because I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to be involved with that one. I know we're funding part of it, or at least through our funding they're providing that, so that we can always make sure we've got some information there. Yeah, good idea. Okay, so.
Thank you. All right, any community concerns before Lou finishes and takes over? Yes.
I just wanted to highlight a couple things that were already mentioned, but people might want to consider educating yourself about. The Local Services Initiative obviously really has a lot to do with the services we can expect and the efficiency of those services. We do pay some of the highest property tax rates in the county, but the services we receive in return don't justify those rates, I don't think, in a lot of people's minds. The second is that the Skyway Community Service Area Sub-Area Plan is actually scheduled in the proposal, which hasn't been adopted yet, but if it goes according to that schedule, it will be kicking off in July this year, from what I understand, and it'll be a 2-year process with, I guess, a year of community engagement. So if you have concerns about the future of this community in coordination with our local government for the next 20 years, you really want to be following that and participating.
Thank you. All right. Are you ready, Lou?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we want to do the announcements first or a raffle? Raffle. Raffle. God bless you. Okay. All right. Maybe I should have someone else pick. Oh, I don't have a ticket. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You're impartial. Pick it. You got it.
There we go.
Do you need my glasses?
Okay, now. All right, I got it. All right.
That's right.
And the winner is 407-2407.
Oh, pick again.
All right.
Pick again.
There we go.
again.
There we go.
A lot of people wrong.
All right.
Yeah.
407-2391.
Oh, come on, pick
All right,
again.
here we go. I'm just gonna, I took out 4. We're just going to go through these until we get one.
Yeah.
407-2403. 407-2402.
Come on.
407-2423. Nothing.
Oh, here we go, Bob.
All right, here we go. 407-2409. Yes! All right.
One of our WAM
407-2405.
We gotta get past that zero.
Yeah, we get past
stuff.
the 0. Oh, you don't like this one. 407-2400.
Well, there's only 10 of them, so.
That's
so
right.
we'll
We've
get
already
through
gone through 7, so.
Holy moly.
407-2368. 68.
Oh my God.
Close.
All right. It was a good idea in theory.
All right, 67.
6-7. Go for it. Come on.
It's a great idea.
98. 98. 98.
398? How come there's
398. 398.
398.
Yep. 392.
Last one.
Come on.
403.
See, there's that zero. That was the 8.
412.
Oh God. Oh my God. We're gonna be notified. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
411.
Suspense.
374.
Thank you.
It was a great idea. It was.
Okay,
Thank
I'd
you,
like to
Margie.
Thank everybody for being here tonight. Enjoy.
Report
Director of election results. Election results.
Yes.
Election
We
results.
have a new board member, Cliff.
Who are all the
right.
people that were elected?
Could you name the board members?
And also, we should probably stand up.
Cliff will join Lisa Cooper, Jeremy Williams, Mark Valdez. Yes, he's folks stand up, please. Devin.
That's everybody.
That's it.
Okay. Next regular meeting of the Westfield Community Fund Association will be on the 9th of next month. And hope that you folks will come to the monthly meetings. Next month we have our committee meetings at the last portion of the meeting. Your voices are welcome. And if you see any of your committee people on the street, say hello. And if you have constructive criticism that you would like them to pass on, they're all ears. So everybody drive safely going home tonight. Thank you again for coming. And for our police, sheriff's office representatives, thank you for being here.
That was suspense. Oh my gosh.